pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll begin with roll call.
Roger Florkowitz, President.
Present.
Tim Arvanitis, Vice President.
Present.
Paul Petrie, Secretary.
Here.
David Tarosi.
Here.
Tom Folk.
Here.
Attorney Christian Bartholomew.
Here.
Fire Chief Robert Patterson.
Here.
Deputy Chief David Meyer.
Here.
Recording Secretary Jen Chattel, present.
All right. We've signed and need to take a vote on approval of the minutes of the board.
I move to accept the minutes as read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, passed. All right, moving through, assuming no correspondence has come up, no additional business from the fire department.
No old business, no.
Okay. Moving on to new business. First item is staffing paramedic contractual agreement discussions. You provide some background?
Yes, so we have 3 of our employees who, when they were hired on the fire department, they signed a agreement letter in reference to becoming paramedics during their time on the department. The time frame was a 2-year period from the start of their date of the class, and we found out that the date was August 7th, which is 2 years today. So with that, we just wanted to bring up that in that time frame, if they have not passed the paramedic course and they have not become a paramedic, then they are possibly being able to brought forward for moving forward towards termination for not meeting the agreement. And then I know, been talking with Christian on this incident taking place, and I don't know if you had anything further you wanted to add to it.
Yeah, I'll just elaborate a little bit. So because today is technically the deadline, there's no action that anybody is asking the board to consider for the purposes of today's meeting. All of the relevant members are still within their time frame, so they're in good standing right now. However, because today is the last day, it's an issue that is going to imminently arise and probably be on the agenda for the next meeting. Basically, the way that the decision as to how to move forward on this right now is still undergoing review from my office to make sure that we're, assuming we take action, that everything is done correctly. But this has been done before in the past, and the process would move very similarly to how it was done previously, which I think the last time the issue came up may have been 2021, something like that.
Yes, it was.
Basically, the chief would produce a recommendation for discipline or termination to this body, and that would also be given to the relevant members. They would have the opportunity within 5 days of getting that recommendation to request a hearing on the matter. Assuming they request a hearing in a timely manner, then the board would be obligated to set up that hearing within a 30-day time period, and the members would be provided with the appropriate notice within 14 days of the hearing actually occurring that, you know, they have the right to appear with an attorney, to bring their own witnesses, tick all the boxes for due process, essentially. We could hold that hearing in conjunction with the next scheduled meeting. We could set it on a different date. That's kind of up to you guys. And
So it can't be included as the normal
I
Merit Commission
think we
meeting?
could hold it at the same, on the same date and with roughly the same time frame as the regular meeting. One thing that I am still looking into, because it is a personnel decision,
That was my question.
is whether it's appropriate to have that as part of an open meeting or whether it would need to be part of a closed session. So if we do it on the same day as the regular meeting, then there's at least a good likelihood, I would say, that, you know, that portion would be turned into a closed session, the actual meeting would adjourn. But I don't have a whole lot to add on that right now because, as Chief said, you know, the time period hasn't expired yet. So no decisions to make today, but we wanted to make sure that the board was aware of this issue so that
Right, it's
if it
upcoming.
does come up on the agenda next time, or you copied on correspondence concerning proposed disciplinary matters, you'll know what it's all about.
It was a 1-year period, was the original agreement, or a 2-year period?
It's 2 years from the date.
And that was
from
to
the start of
sign up,
class.
to begin classes, to complete
So
the
they
training?
had 1 year to sign up to get into a class, and then they had, once the class started, they had 2 years from the start date.
As far as you've been informed, neither of them signed up for the class then?
No, they've been in, they're in the class, they've completed the classes, they're in the process of taking tests,
Okay.
and as of today that I know of, I have no passes been turned into me yet. So
Okay, so it was within 1 year they did it, and then they had 2 years to complete, and you're saying as of today is the 2 years since they signed up?
yes,
Okay,
since this class date started.
okay.
Now hypothetically, if they were to, is it even possible for them to complete their course between now and the time that we are in a position to take action?
Absolutely. Yeah, they can have that chance, you know, even when this is going on. Christian and I talked about that from now until the meeting actually takes place. If they pass, then it's technically, I would say, null and void, possibly.
Yeah, the operative question there would be, essentially, they would still be outside of the time window to complete the course. However, it's kind of a no harm, no foul situation in that no disciplinary action can be taken against them until they've had their due process. And obviously, they can't get due process instantaneously. That plays out over the timeframes set forth in the statute. So it doesn't seem to make much sense if one or more of these individuals qualifies by the time of the hearing to, you know, continue with disciplinary procedures when they've met the requirement at that point.
Right, even if late, yeah, better late than never, I guess. kind of
Better
thing.
late than never. And, you know, we kind of, Chief and I had some discussions about, well, how does this set some sort of a precedent that people are falling outside of the rules? I don't think it really does, because no matter what happens, if this happens again, same thing's going to happen. You know, you find out about the alleged violation, and then you have to give them a fair hearing or the opportunity for a fair hearing. So there's always going to be that gap between the event and a determination being made.
Of the 3 individuals you mentioned, are all of them at the same point? They've all finished the class, they're all in the testing?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe all 3 of them have taken their 3rd test already, and hopefully, if not, setting themselves up to take their 4th and 5th coming up.
So a little better time management encouragement maybe would be the first thing that could be suggested, but okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, there's training opportunities that we don't want to have to repeat and start from scratch with this, so.
Absolutely.
You know, there's resources available. We've already seen that we don't want to be shorthanded. We're trying to move the other direction, so
That is correct.
I appreciate you bringing it to our attention.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
I don't have anything further on that. I will be in touch with Chief as the issue evolves, and like I said, I'm still doing some legal analysis of the issue, but you should be seeing something shortly.
Okay. All right, moving on to item B of the agenda, the discussion of the Merit Board rules amendments, and these were regarding the information we had received from Attorney Austin.
Yeah, that's correct. So I know when we put the rules in place, we discussed potentially amending them on an annual basis, and I think that's still a good plan, basically. But now I'm trying to find the first page of this, which I just had here. But Attorney Austin, unfortunately, he did give us a letter concerning proposed amendments or potential issues that he saw with the Merit Board rules. Unfortunately, that letter did not come in until the day after we passed the rules, so it couldn't inform our decision there. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to review that, but I have, and there are certain items in there that I think are matters of legitimate concern that we'll want to look into. There are other items that I think are maybe more observations, and then there may be some things that Attorney Austin and I have slightly different interpretations of the law on. But my recommendation, I guess, would be I can start producing some drafts or some proposed amendments for some of these items that I think are, it's pretty clear from his analysis that can be corrected. Some of those are as simple as typos.
Right, typographical, yeah, and I saw some of the references of the statute seemed to be a question that he had too, so.
Yeah, some of them are embellishments, I guess you could say, where he felt that it was recommended to clarify our rules to make them accord with the statute a little bit better. I would note that the rules as they presently stand do cross-reference the statute and incorporate it by reference, and they also spell out that if the statute says anything in contradiction of the rules, the statute trumps. So the statute prevails at the end of the day. But I think this is a good start to the amendment process. There's a few items on here that I question whether we will want to make revisions to the rules on those bases. But did anyone have any particular questions or comments about the letter?
When did the email go out?
So I received it the day, June 6th is when it was dated, and I think that's when I received it, which was the day after.
Yeah, I don't think I ever got it. I don't see it in my email.
So I sent,
If we're gonna do these emails, we should request confirmation, you know, so.
yeah, I sent a copy of that out, I think it was before the last meeting. It's been a little while, but the memo came out the day after we passed the rules. If anybody doesn't have a copy of that, I can recirculate it. Any other?
In my review, I didn't go into the details and look up, chapter and verse of the specifics that he had outlined, but many of the things seem to be two sides of the same coin. And it's, six of one, half a dozen of the other. It's a different phraseology. It's, to me, again, the interpretation, as you had said, seemed to be captured in the spirit of it as it was. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure that we have to follow everything and just say approve as submitted type of thing. There are clearly a couple things, like you mentioned, typos and things that I think that it wouldn't hurt us to go ahead and do those, but we certainly want to have time to review and discuss the specifics of each of those.
Yeah, and I think one of the You know, there are a few topics that are ripe for discussion on this. One would be, we've had a long-standing practice of involving the pension board in the hiring and testing process. And, you know, I think the question there is, the statute certainly does not directly contemplate involving the pension board in that process. But it also doesn't necessarily say that you can't. And Attorney Austin is, you know, adhering to the statutory language and pointing out that, you know, it doesn't contemplate the involvement of the pension board. I think that's certainly true.
I think I kind of disagree, because there is a step right before they're hired that they have to send the medical records to PERF, so it has to be approved by the pension board, so I suppose they are involved in the hiring process.
They're involved, that's true. They're involved to a certain extent, because the applicants have to be found to be acceptable to the system. And part of that is meeting the medical requirements that are set forth not under the merit board statute, but under the pension board statute. So there is a extent of involvement that is anticipated from the pension board in the process. However, where we kind of go above and beyond with respect to the pension board is their participation in the interview and the testing process. The statute does not specifically contemplate that, and I don't personally know the history behind how that came to be and how those members got directly involved, but we've been doing it that way for quite some time, I do believe. Correct me if I'm wrong from the fire department end.
Yes.
I know Hammond does that as well. The fire department's very involved, their pension board, as opposed to the police department. They just do the final step with the approval. So I think it's kind of whatever you want to do.
And I know the pension board has to be involved, because on the application that goes to state,
Right.
there's at least 2 signatures from the pension board.
Absolutely.
That has to be on that application.
Right.
Absolutely.
And if there's issues with the application, once it gets down to the PERF medical office and their doctor reviews it, they're emailing the secretary or a member of the pension board that this is what, you know, this is what we need fixed, or we need better results from this. So there's always that contact with PERF and the pension board, like Hammond does also.
Yeah, that is correct. I guess I would caution from a legal perspective, we can look at the way other communities do it, but it gets complicated because I don't know Hammond's in particular circumstances, but depending on whether a certain community had decided to form a merit board or not, that affects it. Depending on if they when they constituted their merit board, that's going to govern what rules that merit board is following. Our merit board is statutory, so it adheres to the most recent statute that came from the Indiana legislature. And the rules are going to be a little bit different for all of those circumstances. So if everyone has not had the opportunity to completely review that memorandum, I completely agree that we really can't have much of a constructive conversation until everyone has. And I would anticipate this being an issue that probably comes up on a month-to-month basis as we hone in on revisions that we want to the rules. And then toward the end of the year, hopefully we will have a operable draft of revisions that we can then put out there. And to make those changes, we'll need to do another public hearing, much as we did the last time, which practically speaking, what that means is it's a normal meeting where we've simply published notice that this matter will be taken up for consideration at the meeting.
And the specific changes that were
And the
potentially
changes that will be considered, and we'll have to file a copy of the rules with the clerk's office, et cetera, like we did the last time. There have been a couple of issues that have been raised since we put the rules in place that, at least serving as the attorney, that I felt should probably be in there somewhere. For example, the department has part-time firefighters that are not necessarily part of the pension system, and that I don't think that anyone really contemplated would be subject to the merit system. But that didn't really come up in the conversations when we were formulating the rules, and less ambiguity is better. So if we can put something explicitly in the rules that addresses some of these situations, I think it might save us a headache at some point in the future. So there was that, and then I don't think I have anything else in particular on this particular item, but it kind of segues into the next item of new business that we have with regard to certain time and grade pay increases that are routinely offered to newer firefighters. Again, we don't have anything specific in the rules about that, and in my review, it seemed to be an ambiguity that probably ought to be cleared up, and we would want to add something to. I won't get too deep into that until we turn over to that issue in particular, and Chief Patterson's had the opportunity to report.
To wrap up item B then, I would say that we need to schedule discussions and review, investigate some of the historical, precedents that we've seen, how things have been handled in the past. If you guys can provide some of that background for us in the next meeting or future meetings to go through and help resolve that. We certainly want to get your input on this, and if you can discussions with the fire department personnel themselves. We certainly need to start scratching the surface of this to do that, and then we can come up with potential changes. So I think that item B then will be, requesting some clarification, and then moving that into an old business item next time, or the meeting after, if we have information.
Can you send those revisions out again, please?
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Okay, any other comments on item B? Okay, we'll be moving on then. Request for approval for time and service and pay grade increase for Jason Nodu from firefighter paramedic second class to firefighter paramedic first class. If you could provide background.
Yes, so when a firefighter's hired, they are hired at an entry level. That is their status. They're entered as firefighter, EMT, first entry level, or paramedic entry level. And then after 1 year of service, they're reviewed and they're eligible for their move up to third class firefighter, EMT, or paramedic. And then after that, 6 months from then, they move up to the ability for moving up to a second class firefighter, EMT, or paramedic. And then 6 months after that, they move up to their, which is last and final not promotion, but time served, pay increase to first class firefighter, EMT, or paramedic. So that's what this promotion is all about. Mr. Noto has completed all of that we just discussed through that time period, which is a 2-year time period. And at this time, I am looking for approval to increase his pay increase, and then also put him at that firefighter paramedic first class staff level.
So moved.
Well, if
Yeah, that's the first question that we have gets back to the question that we had originally for me, was the budgetary authority. I'm assuming that you have budgetary, or permission or approval in your budget to handle the increase?
Right, that's all part of the process, we know that, at these timeframes, that they get those increases, yeah.
Yeah, because we know without the board's approval, we're relatively toothless on the, on the budgeting aspect of it, so, okay?
So I'll jump in there from a legal perspective and muddy the waters a little bit, because I do think there's a decision that ought to be made by the board on this issue. Where it gets interesting for something like this from a legal perspective is we have this section in our rules, I think it's section 6, that talks about promotions, and it's also part of the statute. And the section of our merit board rules covering promotions talks about, competitive testing for promotions. It talks about vacancies in rank and openings for those vacancies in rank. The promotion process is actually quite extensive. There's interviews, there's tests, approval, waiting for an opening, all of these things that are specified in the statute and in the rules.
Excuse me, didn't we say that that was for the more executive positions, not the higher level?
That is.
I thought that we had clarified that when we had talked, that it was for, chief, assistant chief, battalion chief, those type of positions.
Well, and this is my point is, so it's not specified in particular in the merit board rules what constitutes a promotion. I think if you read the rules, to me at least, it seems clear that that is what's being contemplated by the statute, is a position opens up, and because of that opening, you need someone to step in to fill that role, and then the process begins, right?
To head that off right away, just the question is, as far as the paramedic first, second, and third class, are there additional subordinates or responsibilities from first, second to third, or is it simply effectively completing the job and that's an opening? Because I don't see that as a promotion if they're not supervising other people.
And the chief even corrected his wording when he said, this is not a promotion.
No,
This is.
It's
Time and grade.
Yeah, I mean, they call it time promotion, but it's
That's what I
technically,
understand.
So we don't
Again,
need
I
to be
don't
going
think
down this
I
road.
think by definition, it's not a promotion if you don't have any additional subordinates. You're not required to do performance reviews, any managerial
It's-
tasks.
right, this is a time
If you're fulfilling
served.
the exact same role, then that's not a
and
promotion.
I don't know,
it's just
Tim,
a-
I think the PDs, we're exactly the same as a PD.
Yeah,
and
it's built into the whole process. You get hired as a probationary
Right.
employee, then you go to third class, second class. If you meet the timeline criteria,
Right.
and you do well at it, then you advance to the next one. And that's all you're talking about. You're talking about an advancement from second class to,
He's at his final stage,
First
moving from
class,
second
yeah.
class to first class.
Yeah,
That's all
and
that
it's-
is.
And it's not a new role. They're not scheduled any
No.
differently. They're
No,
handled
nothing
administratively the
changes.
same way.
The job description is exactly the same, it's just, now it's titled as first class.
It's just another line in the salary ordinance.
Yep.
and a little extra
Make
pay.
sure- And he is a full-time, we're discussing a full-time employee.
This is a
Let's go on the
full-time,
record with that.
full-time firefighter
I'll make
paramedic, yes.
one additional observation that I think supports that view, is, if we look at IC 368111, which deals with the salary of a first-class patrolman or first-class firefighter, the way it describes a first-class firefighter is essentially the highest non-promoted salary of a patrolman or firefighter, plus all longevity increases, et cetera. I think that supports the position that to get to this grade, it is a non-promoted position. But
Exactly.
I'd be remiss if I didn't bring the issue up at
Right,
least before
right.
the board, because it's your call, and I don't see this as a promotion. There is some legal ambiguity there, so I will tell you that.
I think that we've kind of asked and answered ourselves Are there any other thoughts from the board regarding that, is whether it is a,
Other than the motion that's on the floor, but, I mean, silly me.
I mean, if it's a distinction that needs to be addressed, maybe we should add it,
right?
the time and grade piece, into the rules.
But I think it's
when
already
we-
been,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
from the department's perspective and the scheduling responsibilities and things.
Yep.
It's the same employee role, but with
Yes.
a different level of capability demonstrated by the individual.
Second.
All in
Now you should
favor?
have discussion, but just silly me. Go ahead.
Well, I thought you were making the discussion to approve it, that's why we stopped to have the
No,
discussion.
no, it's not, it's, never mind.
So,
Not worth the argument.
so anyway, now that we've got a motion and second on the service and pay grade increase, not promotion, can we have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, motion carries.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right. Are there any other items that we need to hear from the department, board members?
Mr. President?
Yes.
Chief, I just want to make it clear that I truly love the fire department. To see what I've seen in my 35 years in law enforcement, working side by side with not only you, but other members of your department, I have a great admiration, and I think I speak on the 30,000 residents in our town on that admiration. The comment I received from someone a short time ago was, we see fire personnel and fire engines and fire equipment driving up and down the highways all the time. Red lights blaring, sirens and so forth. We're growing. We're getting a new fire station from what I understand, and there's some talk about a little bit of growth on the southeast side of town. And I've asked this question before, and I know July and August is budget time where you sit down with Mr. Troxel and you talk about 2026 and what it's going to look like financially. And how's that discussion going as far as getting more firefighters?
Well, it's always obvious discussion. We had the discussion as of right now, as we've said in the past, our budget at this time does not sustain that, but we are always looking for ways and areas that we can improve to try to find that funding to do that.
Yeah, and what if you said please? Do you think it would change Mike's?
I'm always saying please.
No, you know what, it is kind of a challenge to ask this question tonight because you've got firefighters that can't even pass, you know, the required testing in order to be fully fledged firefighters here. But I want that to be in the back of your mind that there is a need. As you know, I think that's one of the things when we first started this merit commission that was one of the biggest things you'd like to see is a larger department. And I really believe for 30,000 residents, per every 1,000, we should have a firefighter. And I want that noted on the record, and I will keep noting it until we get to that point. You guys deserve it. You're running crazy. I work with a guy that works with you, and the stories I hear are just unbelievable. The calls for service daily, unbelievable what you guys are doing. And I just want to tip my hat to you guys for a job well done, and just keep at it, but we want to keep giving you the resources you're going to need in order to do the job that you're expected to do. So,
Thank you.
all right.
Call your state legislator.
Yep.
All right, any other comments from the board?
I had one additional thing, actually, and there was some discussion before the meeting. So the Safety Board started today at 5 o'clock with their study session. That wrapped up even before 5:15. The Safety Board meeting, despite the fact that there was an officer promotion at that meeting, still only lasted until about 5:30. And I think there was some discussion going around about whether the members of this board would be willing and or able to push the meeting time for this body up by, say, half an hour or so. I don't know what you guys think of that.
Mr. President,
Yeah, I think so.
I'm in support of it on one condition, that the caveat is that the police department has significant business to tend to, in their meeting minutes that we're notified, and it's bumped back to 6 o'clock. But 5:30 is perfectly fine with me,
I agree.
if that's the pleasure of the board.
Any other issues with that suggestion?
Nope.
I think that that's what we'll try to do then, is schedule 5:30 for future meetings, unless significant business for the Board of Safety comes up.
Okay.
Yeah, we work hand in hand with the PD. We know if they're having,
Large
if they have a
things coming
large
up.
agenda, then we can always notify you, hey, we're pushing it back. So, yeah, we'd be in
Big arm
communication
wrestling
with you guys.
contest going on, we gotta make sure we leave
Yeah,
extra time,
you know how those cops are.
so. All right.
Easy.
I guess that brings us to the last business from the floor. Any comments from the floor?
The biggest crowd we've had, Mr. President.
Yeah, this is fantastic. So, all right. Any motion for adjournment?
Motion.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.